Hello, Iron Fist fans, and welcome back to the AFTERBUZZ TV Iron Fist After Show. Today we are covering episodes 5 and 6, Underleaf, Pluck, Lotus, and Immortal emerges from cave. We'll see you after the opening.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You kind of have to start with this when you
was
have a
like-
tournament setting.
Yeah.
You just do.
You do.
We have a light show!
Yeah, that's back in college days for me.
Didn't they do this in Mortal Kombat too? Of
course.
Like had flashing lights.
God, yeah.
Oh my
Before you
god,
buy
this
some
is... I love this song. I love this song so much.
It's good tunes, and it,
It
really
is
takes you
good
back.
tunes. All right, welcome back to the AFTERBUZZ TV Iron Fist After Show. Thank you for joining us again. Today we are looking at episodes 5 and 6, Underleaf, Pluck, Lotus, and Immortal emerges from cave, which is like hipster autocorrect poetry. Like, wow.
Yeah, at first it sounded like they were martial arts styles or punches or moves, but now it's just kind of like, oh, what you said is much better. That's hipster poetry.
That second one sounds like, it's a Punxsutawney Phil report. Immortal emerges from cave, sees shadow, returns for 6 more weeks of winter. With me, I have Mike Kalinowski.
Hello, guys. How are we doing today? Sorry I missed last week. I missed you guys. But
welcome
I'm
back.
Here we go. Thank you very much. Rocking my Iron Fist t-shirt.
Yeah.
If I get a chance to rock this out.
What's your Twitter?
It's at Mike Kalinowski. Check me out there.
We have
Nice.
Emmanuel Wright.
Hey, Emmanuel Wright. You can find me on Twitter at David Spitz. You can also find me on IG at Young Cameltoe.
Lacretia Lyon.
Hey guys,
welcome.
since I'm Lacretia Lyon, this is my first time joining the Iron Fist After Show and actually wearing a Marvel shirt on a Marvel show. But since there is only one, you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is the only one.
Jesse couldn't join us tonight. He is feeling under the weather, so please tweet him your well wishes. I'm Katie Cullen, and I am wearing inverse Iron Fist colors because this is how I live my life. You can find me on the social medias at Kiaxet, that is Kiaxet. If you are watching live, we have a YouTube chat. Feel free to pop in and say fun stuff. We also have our hashtag on Twitter, ABTV Iron Fist. Feel free to use that during the show and after the show. We do look at that throughout the week. If you have something fun to say, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the hashtag, put them in the live chat. You may well get a shout out. It's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting better.
I will say, there were actually a few moments that I really, really liked because Danny is kind of becoming a character and he hadn't been before. Like the scene where he brings takeout to Connie. I'm like, this is cute. I can go with this.
Honestly, my favorite part of that scene was Claire noticing that, okay, something is off and sticking around because that is what you do.
Yeah, not
And
taking
she
off.
took a to-go bag. You know, like, you're going to use these, and she walks out with the rest. Like, I was like, oh.
That is also what you do.
She's not working at the hospital anymore. She's got to get, any way she can. I like that Claire's a very practical woman there. Yeah.
I just love her character.
Yes.
I love her every time she pops up. I think she is just such a strong actress as it is, but she just adds weight to all the scenes she's in. I just love her character. So
I love that we have sheer competency and a
Yes.
little bit of why me and a lot more
know.
of fine.
yes,
And she's almost just like the character that really ties them all together.
Yeah.
She
She's
is.
been on every show. She really fits in well with any of them. We just need a night nurse show. Where she's just always patching up these damn superheroes.
I actually really need this in my life. I would be down for that. Even if it was just kind of like a half-hour sitcom or a very short drama, I'd be
That'd
down.
be fun. Yeah.
I mean, and I know the shows are taking its own path, but I'm kind of waiting for her, Jessica, and Luke to have that little triangle thing that's going to happen because that's going to be that's hopefully we'll see in Defenders and that kind of drama is awesome.
Do you think the Iron Fist will end up hooking up with her, too? Because I think
her and Colleen, I think him and Colleen. I think that's
Most
that.
likely.
But I mean, all of the characters so far, all the male characters have had some type of relationship.
With Claire?
With Claire.
That's true.
All of them. I'm just
That's
saying,
true.
at least one episode.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah,
I
Matt
continue
Murdock
to
in there.
have-
Yeah.
I continue to have most people don't have the time of day for this incarnation of Danny Rand.
That's what I'm saying. If it was Comics Danny Rand, maybe. Yeah, he's got some game. But this guy, I think he's clueless.
But Comics Danny Rand and Misty Knight is the go-to ship for the comics.
That's true.
Yeah.
And now, I don't...
But
But her and Luke weren't really...
I heard it's not going that way for this. And again, we're trying to stay spoiler-free. And
That's right.
Twitter does what Twitter does, and not everyone's on the same page. So mostly spoiler-free, but We have not seen beyond episode 6.
Yep.
So please keep the hashtag spoiler free. Please keep the comments spoiler free in case other people are watching along with us, in which case I applaud your self-control. Yeah, so we're only up to episode 6, y'all.
Right.
And I'm like, I'd love to see Misty Knight really show this Danny Rand what it's like to be a man. Now I want to have that because I think it was sweet. And to me, the scene that I really liked, the takeout scene, Colleen was a little thrown by him. Yeah, I took a vow of chastity. So that's they're a sweet little relationship, but maybe he needs a strong woman, a stronger woman in the Misty Knight, because Colleen's a badass, but she's a little bit more soft-spoken, which fits with Danny as he is right now, but who knows?
And we had a fun and interesting and slightly weird moment with the whole sexuality thing with the daughter, with the bride of 9 spiders. That's what she was called.
Yeah.
The second person he fought in the tournament, just being like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that.
Right.
Also, I'm sticking needles in you.
And he fell for that, too. I was like, come on, man. You're in a tournament with, Mrs. Gal. Like, are you going to really just have sex during this tournament? You know what I mean? Like,
He also went through puberty on a remote outpost.
Yeah.
That's
So-
true.
Okay.
Yeah, he those formative years of his were with a bunch of monks, so...
I'm sure there's a fair amount of how do I woman going on
Yes.
here.
But he has a lot of money, so I'm sure, it wasn't in the show, but there's prostitutes everywhere in New York. And there's, Tinder, and there's apps, and,
Yeah, but I don't think they even had Netflix on Kunlun, so,
No.
he may not know about Tinder just yet. But,
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Wow. And we went
The things we
there.
have to think about with Danny Rand and this version of him.
See, and I wish we had more fish out of water moments, because I did like...
Yeah.
We had one with Megan, with the, not the secretary, the assistant, earlier in this
Right.
episode, and I really appreciated that, of him just sitting down with her and going, okay, so not really an apprentice, but if I asked you to do a thing, would you have to do it? And her saying... well, I would make sure that it got done.
Right.
And I loved, God, the women in the show are amazing. I just love the wording of that, and the, no, I'm not your apprentice, no, I'm not going to run down the street and get you fruit roll-ups, but I can make sure fruit roll-ups come to you. Do you want fruit roll-ups? Like, no, I want information. Oh, well, I don't have that, but so-and-so on this floor with this has that. I can have her bring up a copy.
Yeah.
And I loved him folding that little origami flower and giving it to her. It's these little moments. It's just the little things that are like, yeah, you're a human being.
Right, yeah.
And then he buys Colleen's apartment building, and I just want to hit him in the face.
Yeah, that's the thing, is to me these 2 episodes sort of gave Danny more of a personality in a lot of ways. Like you say, the little origami, how sweet that was. But dude, you should never turn them fruit roll-ups, but...
We got a box of fruit by the foot in my office from Costco, the 48 pack. There's 6 of us in that apartment. It lasted a week. This is what happens when you give snacks to the tech department. They are gone.
We like food.
Yeah, a little bit. So let's back it up a little. Let's talk about the cancer subplot that we have going on.
Yeah.
Because I like this tying into the Rand Enterprises side of things, and I like kind of showing that people will take advantage of his good nature, and not just the, oh, you're iron fist bit, but, oh, you're compassionate bit. Because these, dozen people, they have cancer, or their loved ones have cancer because of a Rand chemical plant that may or may not have chemical runoff going on, and it's all within the designs of the law.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not affecting people.
It's just like big tobacco companies, with what they deal with in their lawsuits and all that, probably. And so it's like they don't have proof, and it's all kind of circumstantial, but they do, and it's... Rand probably would have gotten out of this. Maybe paid him off and, hushed him up with hush money, and they would have gotten off. But Danny does, being Danny. Which is kind of cool, though.
Fish out of water. He
there you
does
go.
all the company work. So.
And it's one thing with this woman going, oh, this happened, I need help. And another thing to pan back and be like, oh, this was a setup, the lawyers got the phone.
Yeah.
I have to appreciate that as much as I am mad at them for that. I have to appreciate how perfect that is.
Yeah, I like the way that it's set up, sort of Danny making a mistake in the corporate world, but then actually kind of making you like him for making the mistake as an audience member, because he really is this sort of naive, sweet boy. And I like Ghost8386 in the chat says, Danny Rand is Man-Child Man. I think that's a good superhero name.
Man-Child
That would fit
Man.
a lot of them. Yeah.
I feel like in the comments, leave us your best alternative names for Iron Fist. Just give us your different. These stayed in the workshop. They never made it to final draft. Different superhero names for this version of Danny Rand. Like, I need this in my life. Golden Doodle is one of my favorites.
I
like
like
Golden
Golden Doodle.
Golden Doodle.
How about Ignorance is Fist?
Oh,
How about that?
Emmanuel for the win there.
For you.
Damn.
Yeah, that's good.
I appreciate that. And I like this cancer bit. Kind of. I'm losing words today. Life is great. Danny's only in it just a little bit, but he touches it and it's like water ripples because then the company has to deal with
Right.
it. And I love that it turns into Joy and Ward having a conversation and realizing that the office is bugged. Because immediately getting the text from Harold saying, do what Joy says, and just flipping off his entire office.
Yeah.
I was talking with one of my friends at one point, and she said, no, I think the Meachams have the best writing of anyone on the show. And I'm getting to the point where I can see why.
Yeah, that's the thing is Joy and Ward are way more fleshed out characters than Danny at this point.
They are.
Because you understand their motivations for what they do, whether you agree with them or not.
I was talking to someone about the show and how I feel and how they feel, and they enjoy the show, but because they enjoy the Wards, and I'm just like, that's great, but the show is called Iron Fist, and when your supporting characters are more interesting, and you care more about that story than your main character. That's, I think, the fundamental problem of this show so far. Where those characters are really well developed. You know who they are as people. And Danny's just kind of floundering around, comes into a scene, goes out of a scene, comes into a scene, and
hey, handle this for me. Okay, I'll do that.
Even with like Colleen on that side, Colleen and Claire are so well developed.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of.
He really is Oliver Queen.
Ping pong between all of them. It's just like
I don't know if any of you guys have seen Sword Art Online. But Sword Art Online.
No.
It's a similar idea. Our protagonist is like, well, you sure are a protagonist superhero, and literally everyone around them is like, tell me more about your life. I want to know more about you. Yeah, sure, we have this guy running through and beating up people and saving the day. That's great. But tell me more about yourself, side character. You are far more interesting.
And
it's the exact same thing.
And it's so Arrow. I know that there's always been the comparisons between Danny Rand and Oliver Queen. And I will say, I am finally to a point on that show where I like Oliver Queen. But up until this season, I was like, everybody else is way more interesting. I care more. I mean, especially the villains.
Yeah.
I mean, Malcolm's my favorite character in the DC universe. But yeah, so that's sort of how Danny Rand's being treated on Iron Fist. The comparisons just go.
I will agree to disagree with you, but I think Oliver had more going for him
He
in
had more
season
character
one of the
development,
show.
for sure.
Yeah.
You just didn't like him.
yeah.
It's like he had
You
the
don't have to
development.
like-
You understood him, but
Right.
You don't have to like
Yeah.
someone to find them interesting, though.
True.
I mean, that's half the MCU is, you are a terrible human being. Tell me more. And this is why villains have fandoms.
Yes.
But yeah, watching Ward go, realizing that he is addicted to painkillers, and I'm like 98% certain he took that synthetic heroin that was sitting in his drawer.
Of course.
That was that drug trip.
Yeah.
Like, that was that really good life decision. And that was after... I wonder if that's not the first time that he figured... If that's the first time that he realized that Dad has cameras in his office and is watching him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he wouldn't have had that extreme a reaction if he already knew.
Right, yeah. Agreed.
So, yeah.
But he's also on drugs, though, too. So maybe he knew and forgot. Maybe he was on a drug trip the first time he found out. I don't know. War's kind of everywhere.
And do we really blame him if someone came to you and they're like, "Hey, I've got this whole new drug out here. Would you not try it at least once?" That they're
Well,
really
I
selling
wouldn't,
this.
but I'm not a drug addict.
If I owned a company and
Yeah.
like he probably saw the tapes of the guy getting knocked out or heard word of it, you know.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'm curious. I would do it.
There you go. Hey, teach the own.
Synthetic
Yeah.
heroin,
All
you
right.
take it
Like, yeah.
Wow.
It's just like real
when it
heroin.
just hits the market, like it,
Yeah.
that was
Because
like
they did
market
that,
entry.
that test on the one guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was kind of they needed that scene, which was really cool.
Right.
That was, I love just watching those three women walk through the town and work. Like, just
Yeah.
those little scenes of this is how we advertise this heroin. It's like, yeah, this is interesting. I like this. It's the little setup scenes like that. A lot of that is what makes a show.
And almost again, no Danny in that, so it's just kind of like, all right. But they're building to it. They're building they built up Gao and the heroine ever since season 1 of Daredevil. So we kind of now are getting more into that, which is kind of cool.
But Danny's just more interesting in small doses.
I guess so.
He shows up, he beats people up, he smiles, and then he leaves. And it's like, that was great. Show me the other interesting people now that I can spend 3 hours with.
And is it just me noticing this? But in his action scenes where he's beating people up, they always have one shot with him throwing 3 punches, and then they cut the scene and go to something else, a different angle. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
I wanted to just see a long form fight scene, like in Daredevil or something, where you saw it all going on, oh, that was cool. Or with Danny, it's kind of all right, cut this. All right, let's do another scene.
But
are they trying to hide?
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
fact that he doesn't know martial arts.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That was
We're
happening?
back to 3 weeks to train, 15 minutes to rehearse, and instead of hiring a martial artist who was also an actor, they hired an actor that did not get enough time to learn the skills he needed to know for the part. This, it really does feel a lot like we have to knock this out before the Defenders. Let's go.
But then, I mean, I don't know what happened, because in that scene, they're in the trailer, and I'm jumping a little ahead, where they're trying to rescue the guy. That scene was great. That fight scene was fantastic.
How much of it do you think was his stunt double, though?
But, I mean, regardless, if it was a stunt double, it's great, because it was dark in there.
Yeah.
But they should be doing more of that. If your double's great, I mean, and again, they could have been solved by putting a mask on him or something. Not even a mask. I mean, hey, we'll show it later, but the Defenders trailer, Daredevil is more Iron Fist than Iron Fist is, with that little head wrap. That's all he needed.
And that's washcloth on his face, and it was a costume. It makes me so happy.
And that's the thing, is I feel that they sort of set themselves up to fail in a lot of ways, because Daredevil is so good at the kung fu and these fight scenes, and they do these long forms. That's what we're all waiting for, and we're like, sweet, a whole kung fu show.
If anything should be good, it should be that,
Yeah.
not the wards.
I know.
It's like if you had to sacrifice stuff to get the fighting down. And we talked about it in, I think it was the first or second episode, when he's in that parade and he picks the dragon mask. That he should have just put the yellow cloth and wrapped it around his head and used that, and that's whenever he goes. But now he's got the hood he wears, and it's just he's got the Labradoodle hair in his beard still. I'm just
It's missing big opportunities, and then it's also missing the small opportunities.
What did you guys think? Because, okay, we see Hobo Rand for most of it, the beard, the shaggy hair. Wouldn't have been another missed opportunity? He finally gets Rand, comes in, suit and everything, nice haircut, clean shaven, and everyone in the office, the secretary's just gives him the double take. That's a missed moment. But then he can walk and camera pans down, and he's still got the sandals on, or the sneakers, where he still doesn't blend in.
Yeah.
But he does clean himself up. That was clean him up. Why is he a hobo still? That doesn't make sense. Where I see him with the sneakers and the suit, I'm like, I don't get it.
Some of us live by the homeless chic fashion mentality. I mean, you should see my shoes under here, guys. I always wear Birkenstocks, even when I wear a suit.
She is
But you're put together so that you were saying, and the camera pan down.
Yep.
Okay, the Birkenstocks, all right.
Well, and I
It's
do
just
love
missed
the
opportunities.
Converse, because they are easy to move in, and they're very much okay, they're nice shoes. You insisted on not having dress shoes. Fine, this is as good as it gets.
Okay.
I did like that touch in terms of wardrobe for him.
And we've got some hashtags that fit right in line with this conversation. Peter Watson says, hashtag Labradoodle Man. So, yeah, I like that. And also, hashtag Nanny Rand.
Nanny, that's good too.
I almost want Luke Cage to show up and give him a yellow do-rag at this point. We need the mask, and we could at least make it funny.
Because this is when we got into, not our first martial arts scene, but we got into a fighting tournament, essentially. Is he has the person who makes this synthetic heroin for the hand. He has Radovan. And they are going to want him back. And I love the message was just, oh, you as a guard failed. We're going to stake you to the inside of a truck and leave a challenge in your mouth, because that is your purpose now. God.
Yeah.
And Pharaoh444 calls it top ramen hair. I've never heard that, but that's amazing.
Have you not? Do you not remember 90s Justin Timberlake?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chia.
Top ramen.
He is more of a blonde Shia. The Justin Timberlake look is the crunchy look. If you took a hammer
I like
to
how
it,
Defenders, they've toned it down somewhat. They've given it a little bit of a trim. He looks a little more put together with the Defenders, but
I think they took their time for the Defenders. Again, that's news and gossip territory. We need to talk a little bit more about this. But yeah, we get into our first essentially fighting tournament. It's this challenge saying, okay, if I win, I get Sabina, I get Radovan's daughter, which was the leverage they had over him, and you get the hell out of Rand. Yeah. Well, great. If we win, you get out of our dealings. Great.
Right.
I liked the creativity for some of these fight scenes. I loved Scythe. I loved the third person that he fought. I loved the introduction to each of them. The butchers that were moving in sync.
And the letters to them.
Yeah. Entomology is not the study of spiders, by the way. That's something completely different.
Yeah, entomology is actually just the study of insects, which spiders are arachnids, not insects. Fun fact, guys.
No, my biologist friend went up one tree and down another when she saw that. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, no! And then just introducing Scythe with him doing karaoke in this room full of people that he has murdered.
That was
like nice.
What a great character
scene.
introduction.
That was so like a Quentin Tarantino movie, and it was
Yeah,
amazing.
it was.
I was like, I love that because I love karaoke, and I love people being bloody and dead
Karaoke.
all over in the scene
everything
here.
you
And it
wanted.
was take on me. I wanted him to hit that high note.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, yep, just do the thing. It's going to be great.
And
He
I
was
thought
really
that
into
song
that
was
karaoke
perfect.
too.
Yeah.
Like, he was really into it.
He was
like,
having a great time. So that again, it's the small things and it's the side characters. All three of these character introductions were just so interesting,
Right.
especially that last one. And then he fights him, and it's like the scene is not better for having you in it.
Like,
Sadly,
like the Bride of Nine Spiders, I loved her, but that area they were in, it looked like you know when you go to like
unfinished construction.
yeah, but it was like it looked like a middle school's haunted house with like paper and they cut little spider web holes. I was just like, what? You could have done
It
something
was
different with
tacky.
this. You didn't need that.
Do you just keep this? Like the first area was obviously, okay, this
Right.
is meant for fighting. We're making a circle with our own blood because we're just that hardcore.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
That was
guys,
cool.
do you.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then the third arena was also set up, like we're fighting in this space, here's a rack of weapons, go.
Yeah, very cool
But
stuff.
that second one really did look like like a bad video game stage.
Yeah, you're like, why? It is such a cool fight with the pricks that she kept putting him in with the needles, and I was like, this is great. But just the setting itself, I was just like, what's going on with this thing?
What I couldn't figure out was that he was suddenly okay by the time the third fight rolled around. He wasn't bleeding. He didn't have any more spider poison in him. He was fine. It's like, yeah, it's the rarest spider poison, but
Just
it evidently isn't very potent.
Like to cleanse yourself. It showed that, you know, him cleansing with the pulling a hand and seeing the yellow going through his body and just maybe getting rid of the venom or something.
Like
but they didn't.
meditating.
I think I blinked and missed that.
I didn't see. No, that's
I
not in there.
legit don't remember
That's
that.
what. No, that wasn't in there.
No,
But I'm saying,
oh,
I'm
okay.
saying, no, it should have been. That's what I'm saying. See, no, you didn't miss anything.
It's like, wait a minute. I think
makes
I would have
sense.
remembered that scene.
But put that in there. That would have been a quick one. Real quick, flushes the poison out of his body.
Why is he so respectful to Madame Gao? Like, why is he on such
Because
good
she
terms?
presented herself as a servant. She said, my master accepts these terms. So she from the get-go, she did not present herself as the terrifying head of this organization. We know that, but we have some dramatic irony going on because Danny he's just fighting the hand.
Right.
And he
doesn't
said
know
mo-
that. Okay.
Yeah,
He
All right,
has
jeez,
no
yeah.
idea what
I
the
didn't get
faces
that.
of the hand look like.
Like, you're being very nice to
Yeah.
this lady that's basically doing this to you.
Yeah, well, he
Alright.
also had some idea of honor because he was totally going to throw down in this tournament. It was going to be great. And then she pulls out Sabina and goes, yeah, you forfeit or she dies.
Well, cheating. It's
Oh,
kind of crappy,
absolutely.
but hey, it's what to be expected.
And what use have I for honor and
Right.
revealing that
Yeah, of
she'd
course.
been to Kunlun before.
Yeah.
I love just that bit of her talking about the tree and
Like she
and
knows.
in the summer it bloomed and smelled like brown sugar. It's the little details.
Yeah.
It really is.
She can't be killed.
And then owning him.
Is that correct? She can't be killed.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I read that somewhere. I remember like reading a comic and Madame Gao like can't die.
She's
been
still-
around.
But we do kind of have to throw away comic continuity for
Okay.
this show because we're
Yeah.
working in an alternate universe.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't
Chat.
know where was going to go with this because I haven't watched past 6, so I don't know.
Because even Frick, or the guy from Netflix, like he seemed like kind of almost scared of her. Like, oh, I better not mess with her. You know, like kind of like he knew something was up.
Well, she is the head of the hand.
Yeah.
That's a
The head of the hand.
just one of those phrases where it's like, did that just come out of my mouth? Yeah, it did. Okay. Chat, if anyone knows whether or not she can be killed, if that was confirmed in Daredevil at any point or anything like that, please let us know. Again, spoiler free. But yeah, if anyone can confirm that, that would be fantastic. But yeah, just appreciated the people fighting Danny more than I did the fights.
Yeah.
If that
I
makes
liked what they were
any
trying
sense.
to do with it.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. So.
Well,
It
and
got a little
that hits on all of my I grew up on shonen anime sensibilities. So it's like fighting tournament. All right, I'm in. Let's do the. Okay, that happened.
Yeah.
So that, and we also have Danny talking to Lakong.
Lakong.
Is it Lakong?
Yeah, Lakong, I
Lei.
think.
All right, his mentor.
Right.
And I'm always kind
Imaginary
of
friend.
towing the line between is he actually there or is
No.
Danny just hallucinating
thing, I'm
something
like,
awful?
How? Like the first time they shot him, I was like, well, there was a guy in the corner there. Is he talking to him? They didn't make it clear until a couple times later when you saw him. I was like, oh, it's.
I think only Danny could see him.
And there's no question of
He's
that because
actually
everyone
there,
else
though.
thinks
Like,
he's
not
nuts.
tripping. Yeah.
I kind of feel it's more like, say, the show Dexter and how Dexter would always talk to his dad, Harry, where it seems very real, like he is, but it's really just in his head. And I think they do a good... Those are actually very interesting scenes to me because he's talking out loud. And I don't think Danny's to the point where he gets that people might think he's crazy. And again, that's one of those things that somewhat makes him a little bit more endearing.
Yeah.
Madame Gal looked like she understood what was happening when he was in the corner. Like Madame Gal kind of like looks over and she's just peaceful. So I think maybe she picked up.
Maybe she picked up
she's
what he was
talking
doing.
to
Yeah.
some, you know.
And it's possible that he does have some kind of spiritual connection of some sort or something.
Right.
Still with,
Kunlun.
the city. Kunlun. Thank you. Like I said, I'm just losing words all over the place tonight. So it's possible that that's a thing, and most people just can't see it for one reason or another.
Unless you've been there, maybe
He's
Madame
like, I
Gal.
think he's
That
like
might be
tethered
it.
to it.
Yeah.
Like at least metaphysically.
Yeah.
What if that's one of Madame Gal's tricks? Like maybe she has some hallucinations.
Do you guys almost feel like this
But he
show?
was seeing him other
That's
places
true.
as
Yeah,
well.
like they're not pushing the mysticism far enough.
Oh, they're not.
And I feel like because as viewers, and it's still the same world that Doctor Strange, they kind of broke through with mysticism. And I thought they would now kind of go, okay, since that set it up in the MCU, they'll go for it, but they're not. And I don't know why they're trying to keep it so real. It's like mysticism's out there. We know there's Dormammu and all this, and that those things affected the world. Just kind of like the invasion they always talk about with New York.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's mysticism out there. Why are they tiptoeing with this stuff?
I feel that, again, I hate to make another Arrow comparison, but it is sort of how they treat Arrow in the DC TV universe, and the fact of, yes, we know there's the Flash, we know there's aliens, we know all of this, but we still try to keep this show as much grounded as possible, that they'll have a magical character like John Constantine, drinking game if you play that, guys. It's an inside joke. And then Damien Dark, but they still try to keep it a little bit more grounded, and maybe that's their idea, although with Iron Fist, that's so much of the story.
I know, it's like,
and it's like, maybe they're leading up to it, but
And just talking about the dragon and talking, like, okay, I know as a Netflix show you only have a certain amount of budget, but you can do camera tricks to make us think that there's just like shoot it from another angle and then don't do the CGI.
And you've built so much goodwill with 4 seasons of the shows already. Like the audience will go with you. Like, okay, they might not like it, but take the chance on it. Go for it. Like, really, they're not pushing the envelope. And again, I don't know what happens now. Maybe we will see more of Kunlun and Dragon, and I don't know. I feel like we're not going to, which is disappointing.
No, we need.
Because I know they've even said he's not getting a costume, so we know that, which kind of sucks.
Have they said he's not getting a costume?
They said that like they came out at the beginning saying what we're doing. And I don't even think he gets one of the Defenders, to be honest with you. But the designer said for this show
on head stupid
that there is no costume. And I thought it might be like a Daredevil season 1 where at the very end, I mean, it's ceremonial robes. Ceremonial robes. Can't you just have something like that in this head thing? Like,
But even Daredevil season 1, he had that black
some kind of
ensemble
outfit.
that he worked with.
And everyone fell in love with that. By the end of season 1, you were like, I want the black costume again. It was so good.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and it was very much, I pulled this out of my closet.
We will not question it. We're going to go like, that looks a little weird. You know, it didn't have to be the open shirt with the high collar and the little booties. It didn't need to be that, but something.
Just don't CGI the mask and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
we
come
learned that
on.
lesson with Green Lantern.
And that's the thing, is you could easily just have like a green shirt and the yellow do-rag, as I put earlier. It's like little things, just wearing all green.
Tie his hands up with like yellow wraps.
Yeah, or even just like yellow Ninja Turtle style mask.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be the full over the head.
I like that.
Might actually look better.
Yes.
You guys aren't digging the suit with the Converse?
I'm not digging the idea that we as an audience can't handle mysticism inherent in the character meeting a freaking dragon and a costume in a world where mysticism and costumed heroes are an established thing with a capital T.
If this was Netflix's and Marvel's first show out of the gate,
make
I'd
sense.
understand. You would go, okay, we don't know how our audience is going to feel for this. But you've got 4 shows that everyone universally pretty much loves.
Yeah.
You've built the goodwill.
Yeah.
Go, do what, go
It's
crazy.
like,
But
and we keep going back to Arrow. Season 1, they said we're not going to do anything magical because they were very much dealing with, we're just trying to work on the show. There wasn't an extended universe
was
down the
nothing.
line. So we're just going to try and keep it a little grounded and pull in the viewers on our network because we're trying to build this brand. Netflix and Marvel, these shows already had a brand because Avengers and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. already existed by the time Daredevil dropped. So we knew that they were capable of quality. And so it already had all that backing. And then Daredevil was just flat out amazing in season 1. So it has a lot going for it. Giving us mysticism and giving us a costume is not a risk.
No, I mean,
It's
because
just not.
we already have like a Daredevil costume, so why not give Danny Rand a costume? I get that Jessica Jones and Luke Cage don't really wear anything.
they don't need one, and
but
that's fine.
That's fine. I mean, because their thing is super strength or not being able to get shot. Okay, we got that. But
And I mean,
when you're
Luke
a kung
Cage-
fu master,
Yeah, and Luke Cage had a throwback to the classic
Right.
costume in
that
one of
was
the
at least
episodes.
a joke. Yeah.
So I mean, you just say a do-rag, hands wrapped with something, and a green kind of shirt. That's it. Some kind of robe or something. I don't
Give
know.
him Under Armour. Give him, I don't know, bare chest. He's got the tattoo on it. Like,
Yeah, something.
It just, there's so much that you could do, and saying, no, we're not going to do it at all, at this point feels like cowardice.
Yeah.
I don't get the reason why. I just don't understand why.
We have other reasons not to like the show.
Yeah.
Let's be completely real. Oh, he's wearing a costume is absolutely not one of them.
No,
We're expecting
that was
a
the
costume.
least of their worries with what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. So we've knocked out most of the Danny stuff. I want to talk about Ward a little more, just because he has the best character arc going on right now. Because right now, this is the downward spiral.
Yeah. When he slammed his hand in the car, like, that wasn't that hard of a slam on the car door. Like, it was kind of like a bow. But for his hand to turn like that, I was like, oh, what kind of car door is that? Or like, how weak is your hand? That was a crazy scene for me. I was like, okay, what's that supposed to do?
Oh, my mom
Trying to
broke all of her fingers by getting him slammed in a door. So I saw that and kind of went, "Ugh!"
No, I'm saying, but like the force that he did it with, it was kind of like him just, bam. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
It was just him excusing himself to do more heroin. You know,
No, I see
Well,
that.
not even heroin. He just wanted
Yeah.
painkillers.
Yeah.
But his hand went deformed.
Yeah.
Like he was like middle-aged.
Yeah.
like,
like,
like this, like with a purple, like, whoa, from that door slam, all right.
Like, I'm gonna do more drugs. Ah, I'm hurt. I have to. Oh,
I need a prescription.
Yeah.
But
And just realizing that, yeah, he's kind of a, I don't even know if it is low-key, painkiller addict.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not low-key. He's
He's a full-blown,
full
yeah.
on,
Yeah.
yeah.
And-
Slamming, yeah.
But I love, like, watching the withdrawal symptoms and seeing how that affected him, and just the makeup job done
Yeah.
on that was
Yeah, makeup was really good on him.
Oh,
Really good
yeah.
on him.
And I will say, I'm very impressed with this storyline because oftentimes drug addiction storylines are very well wrapped up really quickly and they don't really delve into like the withdrawal symptoms and stuff like that. But again, this comes back to War is just so much more of a fleshed out character with this
Yeah.
real problem that they're actually addressing here
Yeah.
in an interesting way. And I like that.
Well, and his life is just kind of hell right now.
Yeah.
He's under his dad's thumb. His dad is recording his office, and God knows if dad is recording his home as well.
Right.
We don't
We don't
know.
know.
He was able to get cameras in a mental hospital. Who knows where else he gets them.
That's true, yeah.
And he's under, he has to do what dad says. No one knows except for Danny. And then when they met, Danny, dad immediately painted him as the villain
Right.
and himself as the victim to get Danny to work with them. So
Yeah.
at this point, everything is against Ward. From the outside, it looks like he's on top of the world. And from the inside, he is out of control of his own
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, and what's cool about him, I saw there was either an interview or just a picture of him as the actor. They do such a good job on this show because when I see him on that show, I just want to punch him in the face because he reminds me of like one of the Trump kids.
Yeah.
He
He's just got
does.
that look, but in person, I don't know if it's just the way they style his hair and stuff. I was like, oh, he seems like such a nice guy, good-looking guy, like kind of like he has this completely different era than he does in the show. Because on the show, whatever they do to make him this douchey, you just look at like that's the guy you want to see on the street and punch him. You can't stand to look at this guy.
And now we
so
feel
now I
bad
appreciate
for
it
him.
more, and I know and seeing this what he's going through and he's kind of losing and he's falling apart. I didn't like him at the first couple episodes, and I think that because he just had that
Because he was a
douchebag.
dick.
Yeah. But now I'm like, I feel for this guy. I'm like,
I don't feel for him at all. I don't feel any times when crazy happens to Ward, I'm like, all right. It's gonna make him a better person.
Okay, all right.
Like douches become bigger douches actually when they're faced with adversity. But so become a bigger douche, Ward. I want to see this.
God bless Joy.
Yeah.
For doing what she can to keep him in line, for having the empathy for the cancer victims, and just like, no, this is the worst meeting ever because, oh God, this is what we were going through when Dad had cancer.
Yeah.
And then the two most important people in her life know that Dad is still alive or back alive,
Right.
and can't tell her. I'm waiting for Ward to be on some form of drugs and just tell
Tell him.
her.
Oh.
Oh, I think that we're
Yeah.
gearing up towards that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. And to me, Jessica Stroup and Tom Pelphrey, who's a soap actor, that's how I knew him. And I almost didn't recognize him as Ward. They're doing such a good job of making these characters who should be terrible, but we like them. And that's the thing. Enjoy not so much as Ward, but yeah, as you said, it's about how he parts his hair, and there is some psychology
it's
there.
weird. It is.
It's very
And it's so,
Yeah.
it's so like not petty,
Yeah.
superficial, but there's just something because I saw this picture of him and I'm just like, he doesn't look anything like he does in the show. And I was like, oh. It's like, yeah, he had kind of a warmth about him almost in this interview and article that was online.
Yeah.
And they say a lot of it does have to do with parting your hair a certain way, because there's some lovely articles on the psychology of hair parting featuring Ryan Gosling, where you're like, this is Ryan Gosling, where we love him, think he's great, all of this, and then this is Ryan Gosling and Lars and the Real Girl. Now you're like, this guy's creepy. And this,
Really?
It does sometimes come down to the part. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
There's
Keep that
psychology
in
to that.
mind. All right.
That is
That's good to know.
interesting.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to
Yeah,
look that
well,
up
just
and
be
maybe start
sure.
playing some mind games with
Work on
people.
my hair part.
Well, Ward is just the picture of smarmy asshole businessman.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
And now that we're starting to get under that and see, oh, this is why, oh, this is how he became this way, because I'm
Right.
sure Dad was not more loving in life before he
No,
died and
no,
then
no,
came
no,
back
no.
and continued to be terrible.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Havoc 6280 in the chat says Ward's dad is an abusive asshole,
He
and
is.
Mimi M is like, Danny is more of a crybaby than Ward, and Ward had it hard. I mean, as much as you'd think Danny living in the monastery and having this life outside of all this money, some people may see that as Danny having it rough. But is it really? I mean, those
Yes.
people took care of him in some ways, and this Ward, he's got this abusive
Yeah.
father. So not necessarily.
I don't know.
No.
Danny
Yeah.
had to fight a dragon at some
That-
point. Like back, like
That's
Ward
true.
never
Yeah.
had to fight a dragon.
Danny chose to
A
fight a
metaphorical
dragon.
dragon that is a drug, that is
That
often
is
used
true.
for
There you go.
drug use.
Yeah,
chasing
Ward's
down
fighting.
Metaphorical dragon.
Ward is
Puff the
fighting
Magic
Puff the
Dragon.
Magic Dragon. Yes.
Ain't nobody get
Yeah.
that effed up on Puff the Magic Dragon, I can tell you that.
Well, and Ward's is an abuse narrative.
No.
And you don't like to think that way because, oh, he's a rich kid and he's the head of a company and he should be just fine. Well, being rich doesn't make your family any less abusive.
Right.
It just puts you in a different economic bracket for it.
Yeah, you still have the same problems. It doesn't matter. They don't
Yeah.
go away.
He could just say no to that, though. He could just say no.
I don't think he's in that position.
Yeah, he's not.
He knows that they're in with the hand at this point,
Yeah,
though, and that the
that's-
hand was able to bring his
He's-
dad back to
he's
life.
basically-
If they can do that, what else are they capable of? And if he talks, what happens to Joy?
Okay, yeah, he can't talk.
He's-
I don't think he can mess with the hand. But his dad, like, he can't say no to the hand. No, I'll give you that. But his dad, though?
Well, that's why
Like
the
the
dad
hand
wants
when-
Danny.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's like, he knows that Iron Fist is the, the
Sworn enemy of the hand.
So that's his card to play. But
Because the hand's not coming to Ward asking for favors. They're going to his dad.
Yeah.
True, but they need Rand Enterprises.
yeah,
And so if Harold is no longer able to work through Ward to make that work, do they move on to Joy? And is Ward staying where he
Protecting
is
his
because
sister.
throwing his sister to the wolves is
Yeah.
not an option?
yeah.
They could go through Danny,
It's still
too.
an abuse narrative.
Because Danny knows.
True.
Yeah. And Danny's, he'll make decisions quick, just like that. Like, oh, no, I want this to happen.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do it if the hand is telling him to. Or I don't know. It just, Danny's in a very different position than Ward is at this point. Danny can physically fight back and has a mission, and Ward is stuck.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part is like, are we supposed to be cheering for Ward? Or are we supposed to be cheering for Danny? And it's almost like several other shows where I find I like the villain often more than the hero because I understand his perspective more. And a lot of the chat is bringing up about Joy. They're like, I don't think she's going to be as good as she sort of has been in the cancer storyline and being able to relate to these people. As Mimi M points out, if Joy was treated like Ward was, she would be pure evil too. I mean, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And a lot of people speculate maybe she's actually worse than him. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah, just more low key, more smooth with it.
I feel like we're halfway through the episode. Either they're saving that for one hell of a twist, or they would have set it up by now. I know that's putting a lot of faith in this show, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
They have been doing setups for things that I am sure we will see further down the line. So I think Joy is kind of meant to be our balance for her brother, for her dad, and a lifeline for Danny.
All right. I definitely could see that.
All right.
That's my take on things.
But
So,
she does handle
we'll see.
situations very smooth and
Oh,
calm.
yeah.
You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
So if something bad was to go down and somebody wants to get away with it, I'll look at Joy first. Just because, like, she's not going to make a scene. She's not going to break down because she did something bad. She's going to be smooth with it. Where Ward is going to go get his pain his meds and stuff, trying to cope with the pain. So, I don't know.
So we'll see. We're halfway through.
That's true.
13 episodes. Yeah, about halfway through so far. So we'll see how that shakes out. And I think the last thing we need to cover for this episode is Colleen and Claire. And God, poor Radovan.
I know.
We're going to seal your collapse lung with a credit card, and then we're going to send you to a hospital.
Yeah, that poor guy not wanting to go and, starts bleeding out there at that one point. And I'm like, what do they say? Like, they got a credit card and he'll suck in the air so it'll form a seal on it. And you're just like, it's got to be.
I had to fast forward that part. I couldn't take it. I fast forwarded. I was like, all right.
And I still don't get why a credit card. There were maybe a lot of other things that would have made more sense, but I'm guessing it was just to have something that maybe wouldn't work, so he had to go to the hospital.
Well, it's the right size, it's durable, and it's something that he absolutely would
not-
have had on him.
And it wouldn't have sucked into the hole like some kind of cardboard.
No.
Not even
Yeah,
cardboard,
it
but like
wouldn't
paper.
soak in.
Blood would not deteriorate it.
I would also
I don't
imagine
question
that,
Claire. Claire knows her stuff.
I would also imagine that this is not the first time Claire has had to do this.
No.
Just saying.
Always bad.
And sometimes in shows like this, a character like Claire is kind of like that Deus Ex Machina, where it's like she's the cure-all for whatever the problem is. But I don't ever feel this on the Netflix shows. Yeah, she's always able to help, and she always knows her stuff. Like, the one scene in Daredevil where she knew where Daredevil to like put his finger in the eye or whatever, and to get him to talk without hurting him, and she knows stuff, and it's never like, oh, well, they needed this, so Claire will write her in this scene to do this. It just feels so natural with how they write that character.
Well, and it also helps that she is aware of her own brand of luck. Like,
Yes.
why do I keep running into you people? She's just this side of the fourth wall.
Yes.
And I love that about her, and that's actually part of what makes the character work.
Right.
Yeah, I always love reluctant leaders or reluctant just into the scene characters like Claire is, sort of like the McRory of Legends of Tomorrow. You're reluctantly there, but you just know you're needed, and you're like, oh, whatever, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Just fine. Seriously, fine. Oh my God, let's just get this taken care of so I can get back on with my life.
Oh, actually, Havoc6280 tells me that a credit card is what you're taught in first aid to use on a sucking chest wound.
Oh.
So, yeah, I've had first aid classes, and I've never had that in there. So
I hope I
that's
never
what I was
have to
wondering.
see a sucking chest
Right.
wound in my life.
Yeah,
I hope to God I never. No,
So
in
I
real
don't
life.
agree, no.
The sight of blood, the smell of what's probably coming out of that hole.
Oh, dude.
And if it's a sucking chest wound, so it's like you see the blood bubbling and being sucked in.
Collapsed
Nope.
lung is what
Nope.
she said.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Obviously, I didn't have a good class at the YMCA,
These
guys,
mental pictures.
so I never learned that. I know super glue on wounds, but not the credit card thing.
I don't think we ever got to that
Thank
point.
you.
Oh, man alive. Yeah,
Nope.
and we take him to the hospital, and we immediately lose him to the hand because the hand is. Well, yeah, the hospital is kind of neck deep and sinking in the hand, and
Yeah.
it's the same one that Claire was at, the same one that was attacked.
Right.
And they've probably just kind of gone, yeah, we own this one now. Okay.
Yeah. And we had now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had the character that was in Daredevil, right? The head nurse.
Yeah.
I like that character too. So she's kind of cool to have around.
Yeah, and on
You know-
one hand, it's like, okay, Claire, why did you take this here when you knew the hand were here? On the other hand, it's the
Hand punch.
why would you call that your God?
Well,
I mean, in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were the foot, but that was less likely to be used in a random sentence. The hand versus the foot. Who's going to win? Let's go. That is a death battle I would watch.
think she would, she knows she can go there with no questions asked.
Yeah.
If you show up with a guy with a chest wound like that, there's going to be cops involved in this and that. So I think she's pulling those favor cards. It's funny thinking about this because we got that character, we have Claire. Someone made a great point, I was talking to Twitter, that it sucks that Ben Urich is no longer in this universe because he would have been a great connective tissue with all these shows as well. Like another one, not just so Claire's constantly popping up in everyone. Ben Urich would have been such a great character, but his death was so good, and it's such a great scene with him and Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
But I do miss Ben Urich, and again, like we have to throw the comics out, but Ben Urich is that connective tissue that now Claire's kind of taken. But
Yeah.
to have both of them in there, that would have been, everything. It would have been as much coincidence. But I digress.
I mean, and you have to throw comics readers for a loop because otherwise they
Right?
sit
Yeah.
there and go,
I
know
think we
exactly
all watching
what
that.
I
We were
know.
all like, "What? Oh!"
It's like, please don't, please stop. Oh God.
Because he's
oh,
such
God,
he was
no,
such a
no,
good
no.
actor too. So good.
For time Wilson Fisk is in the room, you just kind of scoot back a little.
Now, do you guys?
I love D'Onofrio though.
Oh, he's
Do you guys
amazing.
miss? Do you miss Fisk that he's not? Because I guess now we're going to get Sigourney Weaver coming up with the hand and this. We don't know what's going on with that, but I don't know why Fisk was not at the center of all this.
Saving him for Punisher or Daredevil season 3.
Okay.
I
Because
would
Punisher's slated for this year as well.
Yeah,
It
they're filming
is.
right now, so yeah. I think are they say November for Punisher?
Yeah, November
You know
for
what?
Punisher.
Let's
I
swing
think is
into
on
news
there.
and gossip.
Okay.
Let's just go ahead and call this news and gossip.
All right, let's get into
Because
it.
I want Fisk on every show because I love
Yes.
D'Onofrio, but
Oh, he's so
yeah.
good in that role. But
Yeah.
So Jessica Jones just started filming.
Yes.
That's just
Yeah.
like a day or two.
Yeah.
Punisher's almost done, so I think Punisher is November. Defenders that's the weird one where we're gonna get the. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we had a teaser drop today, a whole 16 seconds of black and white footage showing the four of them in an elevator,
Yes.
just kind of hanging out, waiting for something to happen before Jessica notices the camera and takes it out. And when that happens, we stop on what
The
was
time
it?
code.
The time code
In the
is the
corner.
date. So
Yes.
it's what, 8/18/2017?
Uh-huh.
So August 18th, y'all.
So it's their cool kind of way of saying, hey, this is when it's dropping.
Yeah.
And again,
then
it's-
they later confirmed that yes, that is the date.
And we've always had a March, April, and a November for the shows. That's when they always drop. So this Defenders is not disrupting that schedule. We're gonna get
Yeah.
the 8 in August, and then I guess Punisher. They haven't said it, but Punisher should be November, right?
Yeah, that's what I was Googling right now, and they said nothing official has been said yet, but it looks like November since it does say release date 2017.
Yeah.
And as you say, that's sort of how they've been.
Right. And I think with Jessica Jones filming now, that would be like the March slot, and
Or
then
the-
Daredevil 3 would be 2018 November.
I-
Technically,
yeah.
if they're going off of their spring and fall drops.
Possibly. They who knows?
Yeah.
Honestly, but it'll be interesting to see the Defenders. I'm looking forward to this. We'll have to see how Iron Fist ends because I'm a little disappointed that we have hey, they're fighting the Hand and Madame Gao, and I'm like, oh, so he fails in this series. That's great.
It's like they've jumped ahead, and it's something that's a little disconcerting for me. And I was talking to some friends of mine. The showrunner for Iron Fist, Scott Buck, I believe, he's the showrunner for the Defenders.
I worry.
So that to me, when I did not know that, I'm just kind of like, and he's like, we talked about Dexter, right?
Yeah,
was
he
on
did
Dexter.
the last few seasons after the Trinity Killer storyline.
Yeah,
he picked up
that's
where,
when Dexter started kind of going downhill.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there were a few bright spots because
So-
I know a lot of people hated the Edward James Olmos ghost storyline, but I loved it because I love
Yeah,
Colin
it was-
Hanks.
yeah.
I'm like, it was weird, but it was funny.
So I'm curious how this is going to bode.
Well, we'll have to see how this goes. We'll have to see. I've heard a lot that Iron Fist picks up after episode 6, picks up after episode 7, that our back 6 are really good. So we're getting into that territory as a show.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I've gotten a lot of assurances there.
Yeah, they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, just stick. I know you're only watching every week. Couple, give it the 6 in the back." And I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'll finish. We're not going to not finish it."
And that's also the issue with the first 6 episodes were pre-released to reviewers, so we've seen those
That's
6
true.
episodes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you can see, okay, usually for a Marvel Netflix show, the first 6 or the first 8 are really good, and then there's a twist, and the second half of the season tends to have to struggle to keep up on that quality.
Yeah.
That's the rule of thumb usually for a Marvel Netflix show. And so they release the first 6 and you go, these are supposed to be the good ones?
Yeah.
But supposedly they flipped that on its head.
And
I say
maybe-
supposedly because we're not there.
And maybe because he said he only had 3 weeks, but now he's had 6 episodes with probably a couple months of filming where he's maybe getting more comfortable with the martial arts. He's picking up the choreography so it's faster. So those 15 minutes they had before to film it, maybe they have a shorthand they develop with the stunt people, or they know how to cheat the stuntman in it more, maybe. Or they could have given him a mask and that could cover your stuntman.
And
I'm just saying.
I like that.
And hopefully they will start paying off some of the things that they've been setting up earlier on.
Because there's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's so many threads out there right now.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes as well. I'm still intrigued. I'm still in this. Let's do the thing. But yeah, depending on how this series go will also kind of depend on how I look at Defenders. Because I'm excited because 3 for 4 are characters that I adore.
Yes.
And it's kind of hard to mess that up going in with 3 really solid characters.
And someone told me, Netflix, this is its highest rated show so far of the year.
Huh.
The numbers came out for it, and my friends were telling me, and they put this thing, it rated higher than Daredevil the first season and Jessica Jones. It's
Daredevil
like
was
the
5
numbers,
stars.
the numbers that they got. I don't know how they. I'm sure you could look it up there. The numbers that they correlate for me, I was kind of like, well, it's only 3 months in on this year, and it's already its highest rated show. Okay, well, that doesn't really say much. What else has come out?
Santa Clarita Diet was pretty good.
And
so
Lemony
that's why I'm
Snicket,
like,
so maybe it's rated
Voltron.
higher than those.
Yeah.
Voltron.
Voltron has real good
But
numbers.
and I was like, well, but then my friend said, well, its numbers were scored higher than like Daredevil season 2 or Daredevil season 1 and Jessica Jones. I'm like, oh, really?
Here's
I
what
can
I'm
see
wondering.
Daredevil season 1 though, because it was the first one,
Yeah.
and that they're starting to get their bearings. It wasn't as highly publicized as Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But Jessica Jones, I'm like, nah, I don't buy that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or the only thing I'm thinking
Yeah.
is people know they have to watch this
Yeah.
because Defenders, and
Because
they want
Defenders,
Defenders. You can't go in not missing this one puzzle piece.
I'm also wondering if it's not a snowball effect. If they're not looking at the binge numbers the first week or so.
Yeah.
Because you have people who were Johnny on the spot for Daredevil, and then people who came on later, and then
Yeah.
those people went into Jessica Jones, and then more people came on later for that. And those people went into Daredevil season 2, and then Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And now we have Iron Fist, and we have all these people across these other 4 seasons that are like, yes, okay, we're in it, we're going to watch this. It comes out on not necessarily a holiday weekend, but
Right,
you're
right,
recovering from St. Patrick's Day the next day, you're hungover, you're not leaving the house, let's do this.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that's it. I don't know how Netflix ratings work.
I have no clue either because they
It's
don't
this
do like the
weird
Nielsen
voodoo
thing.
magic.
Yeah. So
Well,
who knows?
Nielsen is skewed anyway, let's be real.
That's such an outdated.
They're so off.
Outdated.
Yeah.
But that's what we have.
But that's a whole other show.
Yes, it is.
Before we move into predictions, we have a couple of iTunes reviews because you guys are wonderful human beings. The best thing you can do to keep us on the air as an after show and as a series of after shows, because y'all know we're going to try and look at Defenders, right?
Yes.
Like, we all want to talk about that. The best thing you can do for us as a show is to go onto iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, rate us 5 stars, and leave us a review. The more ratings and the higher ratings that you leave, the higher we come up on podcast searches so that people will find the show more easily. Also, our producers do look at those reviews, do see that you like the show, and then, hey, we come back another week and it's awesome. And you get a shout out. So who do we have this week?
All right, by Friday Lover. I like that name. Oh, let me do sexy voice. Another DC TV thing. Podcast better than show? ? 5 stars. The panel is great and deserve better than having to watch this underwhelming series. Still, if I had to watch all of it, I feel better knowing these wonderful folks had to as well. I also want to hear their thoughts and am subscribing.
I'm not sure if that's support or Schadenfreude.
That's
But
very nice.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
Yeah,
listening.
that's awesome.
All right, now the 502 Entourage says, no Zach Wilson? 5 stars, though. A Marvel AfterBuzz podcast without Zach Wilson? Weird. I love the diversity of this panel. Not everyone is a die-hard Marvel fan, so it's nice to hear different opinions. I think that this is a great show. What has been given to us. It feels as if the writers are trying to put Danny into our world instead of put us into his world. It is as if it had 2 boards, one with the business and one of the martial arts, and they went more business. And why do I feel like Danny is still becoming the Iron Fist instead of him becoming the Iron Fist for a while?
So 502 Entourage is going to start running their own after show
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah. Did he kill the dragon like the lady last day before Kunlun opened back up on Earth and then walked into New York only to have powers for a month? Great show. Great panel. Look forward to the next 6 to 7 episodes of the podcast with you all.
Well, thank you guys
That
for
is
watching.
insightful commentary there.
I know. I was like, this is really long. I'm getting choked up. Yeah.
That's great.
And we had a really funny hashtag from Artmaster Austin's Prophet. You're always good with the hashtags. Hashtag dirty hand versus stinky foot.
Oh, good Lord.
I like that one.
Hey. All right.
I'm in it. I'm enjoying that. All right. Do we have any predictions going in?
I do.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
And the second light show of the night.
Because I didn't want to say it earlier, I have a feeling that Danny and Ward are going to team up. Danny's going to help him against Joy. I think Joy's going to turn out to be not the main bad guy, but she's going to turn bad, I think. And I think Ward and Danny are going to have this kind of brotherly bond. And I think that I foresee that happening, helping him break away from his father. That's my prediction.
I would like to see that. My prediction is, and a lot of the chat has been speculating it, I hate for this to happen, but it could bring the Defenders together, is Claire's death. Since she is the...
But isn't she in Defenders?
Yeah,
I think she's been...
I think she's been slated to be a part of it, but yeah, you just never know with them, and I'm like, what?
And also, can we not
like,
kill
no.
the prominent woman of color in all 4 series? Just
No.
can we not?
No, they
we
can't kill her. I
not?
think she's too well loved.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, but with Ben, we all loved him and
That's
expected
true.
him. They're
That's
mean,
true.
you know?
But that was Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bad things happen in Daredevil, you know?
Yeah.
Like, characters were
Yeah.
off. I think Danny's going to get with Claire at some point.
Oh.
Maybe, like, episode 12, 11. I don't know. So he's
see.
going to, like, kiss her or something to some passionate music.
I do think we're going to have a moment where Ward, in one capacity or another, tells Joy, yeah, no, Dad's still alive. He's been giving me orders. He's been running this company through me. I do think it's going to be through a drug-addled haze, but I might be wrong on that aspect. But that's kind of the corner that I'm sitting in now, is that's going to happen, and that's going to open a whole other can of worms.
Yes,
She'll have that, oh, you're going through withdrawal, it's fine, or oh, no, you're still drugged out, you know, you don't know what you're saying, and then start thinking about it and digging and then getting herself in trouble.
Yeah, I think if that's how it goes down, which makes total sense with the way that they're writing it, I feel like she's going to feel left out of that knowledge from her father, and then this will be what takes her to an evil turn.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think she's going to be evil. Come on, you guys, really?
I do.
Yeah.
Really?
There's
Come
a
on.
rift coming with the two of
She's
them.
a very cool
There's a big
Carl
rift
character.
coming. I think. Yeah. That's
All
my
right.
prediction. All right. We'll find out.
We will find out. Thank you guys for joining us on Mike. Where can the people find you?
You can find me right at Mike Kalinowski on Twitter and all the other social medias.
Emmanuel Wright, Young Camelton, David Spitz.
Hey guys, since I'm Lacretia Lyon, you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. And tonight, sadly, is the Legends of Tomorrow finale. Be here to win the last doodle of the year.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me all over the social medias and on YouTube at Kiaxet. That is KIAXET. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. Samurai Jack is Sundays at 8 p.m. and we are starting Attack on Titan. That's good. Season 2 has started to air. That should be Mondays at 8. We will give you more details on that as that arises. And Arrow is on hiatus for the next 3 weeks because they really enjoy their spring break. That will be back at the end of the month. I'm also a regular on Gather Your Party Friday nights on Geek and Sundry. That's twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry Friday nights at 7 p.m. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Mortal Kombat!
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.